What is up, y'all? What is up? What's good? What's good? What's good? I had positioned the camera differently this time. Um, you know what I mean, as it pertains to us going live today. I went live like this my third time. First time, you know, the audio wasn't what I wanted it to be, so we want to take another crack at this thing. Um, but yesterday's video, I shared about how this butterfly, um, miraculously landed on my left shoulder. And in the midst of that, I talked about how, I decided to stop drinking 2 weeks prior to Kirby, my homie Kirby Griffin. Shout out to 405 Diaries, him taking the photos of me at my neighborhood in East Baltimore where I grew up. And somebody had commented, and thank you, first of all, thank you for the comment. Uh, Shout out to Just My Stilo 09. They had asked, they said, hey, I tuned into this video this morning, but didn't really have time to comment. Your whole metamorphic analogy is relatable. Can you expound on being disciplined versus inspired while dealing with grief? How did or do you overcome it? How has grief influenced your art? Wow. Like that was a very, very like powerful question. And I just want to thank you for, putting that into the comments. And that's exactly what I want. I want to be able to connect and share my story. But to answer your question, the metamorphic analogy, as you said, is definitely relatable. And I'm just excited and grateful that I was able to um, really have an open mind towards that. But expounding on being disciplined versus inspired, uh, the discipline with me deciding to stop drinking, and mainly I activated the discipline by being, I don't want to say I was inspired, but like while dealing with the grief of like losing my loved one, my mother, or those who I connected with on a deeper level. I guess to answer that question, it inspired me to uh, really just allow their legacy to continue when they're gone. My mom Dukes in particular, and but with the drinking aspect of me wanting to stop drinking and really I really wanted to tap into just, and I wrote this down, just healing the brokenness from my father's side, what I mean, or my father, healing that brokenness, because it's the enemy's job to sidetrack people with a gift. And I feel like at that time in June 2019, when I decided to stop drinking, it was more so that I wanted to not necessarily put myself in the same predicament as my father. And also, it was also me attempting to just have clarity, right? But dealing with the grief aspect of just, overcoming it, you know, and how grief has influenced my art. Uh, I want to say that it, even when my mother passed, I always felt the need that I needed to do something. Like when my mother passed away, my uncle, he passed away on Wednesday, and then 3 days later, my mother had transitioned in 2012. So in this, I was already developing a DVD uh, for my uncle because my aunt had this event where it was a birthday she had, and my uncle and my mother they sang. So when my mother had transitioned 3 days later, I've added my mother to the visual that I was already preparing for my uncle. And I look back at it now, I'm like, yo, how was I able to push through? How was me keeping busy kept me from, not losing my mind? And when these things happen, even when my uncle had transitioned in October of last year, that was around the same time I got the call to do the sneakers for Dominique Thorne for her castmates for the Disney Plus series, the Disney Plus Marvel series, Ironheart. And when I'm dealing with grief, I feel like I work, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's not good because we have to deal with that pain. We have to, really reflect. But for me, art is a way of therapy. It is therapeutic. It is healing. So how I overcame it is just creating and just focusing on how can I create from this negative situation or this situation that is meant to put us in a stagnant situation and just pushing through, you know what I mean? Despite the circumstances, despite what's going on, despite, how life may knock us down, we got to push through because adversity meets us all, you know what I mean? But, like I said, back in the day, the enemy tried to deter me from, you know, uh, the gift that I was using in the beginning by pulling me in many directions that um, I didn't activate discipline then. I was only inspired by my peers who were around me, who were pulling me in different directions, who, knew I had a gift and just wanted me to do what they wanted me to do. You know what I'm saying? And me trying to find my way, um, and me going over to the West Coast in Phoenix, Arizona at the time when I was on a run in my early teens. A lot of those things could have been avoided if I was in my God given purpose, doing what I was supposed to do. But all those things had happened, and all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord. But at that time, I can honestly say I was worried about self. You know what I'm saying? But all things came full circle because that's the same story I share when I'm being invited to speak. Um, when I spoke in Boston to 200 people for the Moonlighters Club. That was in 2019 too. That was before the pandemic. I shared that story when I was invited to Dent to speak to 100 and something students. And this past summer at the Baltimore Center Stage, I shared that story. So unpacking that story as far as me being homeless and me being on a run for a few years in Baltimore. And then I did the same thing that I did in Baltimore out in Phoenix. That had me having two warrants at 22. By the time I fled to go to Spokane, I was like laying low, and I just didn't want to do anything. I think the only thing that I did after that of me just finally laying low and just like not necessarily getting into any trouble when I moved to Spokane, Washington, was I went to Office Depot and I grabbed the editing software to learn how to edit. And this is before YouTube came out. This is before the do-it-yourself movement, the DIY movement that you see here on YouTube or you see on TikTok. I literally trained myself how to edit, and it was in that skill and in that patience and in that act that had led me to other opportunities further down the line. So yeah, so I think that um, just really dealing with the grief and man, dealing with it sober. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the difference between dealing with grief and you can go into your vices, be it alcohol, be it whatever, sex. You get what I'm saying? To heal, or to put that as a distraction. But when you deal with a sober mind, that's different. You get what I'm saying? And during the pandemic, it was kind of crazy for me, but it was also during the pandemic where things had took an increase. You know what I'm saying? With the discipline that I've activated in recent years, I've been able to be fully present when I'm meeting with individuals who I'm connecting to. If I do art pieces with them, it's not like back in the day where I would give stuff to Kevin Hart or Jadakiss, and people would ask me, "Yo, how was the experience?" And I can't recall nothing because I was under the influence. And now I'm looking at it like when I meet and connect with individuals now, it's a business. Like and when you are going to an interview or when you are looking to collaborate with a company, you don't come there with not being 100%. You come there with the full intention of, okay, I represent myself, I represent my brand, and I want these people to collaborate with me, or I want these people to hire me for this job. I feel like all of what people see now on my social media is as a result to God blessing me because I was able to be disciplined to and obedience, showing obedience, being obedient. You get what I'm saying? It was in the obedience that had helped elevate me because just fulfilling and doing the art. I found out that art is the purpose, and art is my purpose and my calling. You know what I'm saying? And we have to be a conduit to that. We have to fulfill that. If it's inside of us, it has to come out some type of way. And in order to really elevate, you got to show some level of discipline. So I can chime in on so many topics. I'm not trying to actually go, here with it and there with it, but I'm just trying to really focus on your question. But you inspire me to make this whole entire video on that. And hopefully, I answered your question with the comment that you've posted on yesterday's video of the butterfly. I'm looking to definitely add uh, more content as it relates to that. But like I said, it's been since June 2019 that I haven't done anything. And but it has been, um, like I said, it's been a testimony, it's been a story, it's been so many things that I've been able to get out of just activating that discipline. And the inspiration to keep going had came after. You know what I'm saying? The inspiration that, people, when they message me, they be like, look, Doug, you inspired me to stop. And someone inspired me to stop. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to know what my life would look like if I don't necessarily depend on those vices. Or I wanted to stop it immediately so that way I can have more control over it as my creative journey continues to expand. I didn't want to necessarily have those vices towards that because, as life continues, we're going to experience all the ups and downs, left, right, and how we deal with that, how we respond to that, it makes us or breaks us. So, I feel like I covered everything I wanted to share. I had some notes here so that way I won't, steer off topic, which I feel like I did a little bit. But let me see if there's anything else I want to share. Um, I think that's it. I think that's it for right now. It's about time into any of these. It's going to be another couple minutes. But I just want to thank y'all for tapping in and commenting on the recent posts that I shared about the frame. Y'all been showing up and showing out. I'm definitely going to be doing a raffle for that. And hopefully, those who have really been increasing their chances of winning, y'all been commenting, y'all been sharing. The video all the instructions is on my IG. If y'all look at the one that has the thumbnail with the frame, either one of those two videos, the one I posted yesterday or the day before, definitely, do the instructions to win that 8x11 frame. But again, thank y'all for tapping in. Shout out to Bobby. I see you. And I'm looking to continue to, share more of these stories, you know what I mean, as, things go along. And I really appreciate you, Just My Stilo '09, for leaving that comment on yesterday's video. You know what I mean? It definitely, inspired me to create this as a title today. So I hope that I touch bases on all the things that you wanted to know. There's so much more that I want to share, but I'm just making sure that I keep things, right in that bubble to answer your question, not steering off and going to another story or another example. But I will say this, dealing with grief, I just keep busy. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good thing, but that's also, you have to definitely do the inner work. I do know that you can't depend on working all the time. You have to face that grief that you're going through in order to really get through it. But how I've been able to push through is either working or whoever I've lost, if it's a loved one for that matter, I try to find out how ways where I can, you know, in their passing, allow that legacy to still live through me. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I overcame some of it. Now, dealing with grief on a personal level, whereas those personal relationships, that's something different. Sometimes I isolate myself. Um, and I feel like isolation is healthy as well, but it has to be a balance, because it takes, definitely, you know, um, some energy to put yourself back together, the pieces back together. We can't decline that. We can't deny that. So anyway, that concludes today's 4 a.m. session. Um, Again, if you guys want to buy any of the prints that's left over from the Harriet Tubman uh, 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 money, the 20 and the Frederick Douglass 50, they are available on my site right now. But the one that is framed, the 8x11 that's framed, that will be given away on February 20th. So if you want to actually, have some chances of winning, definitely like, share, subscribe, and definitely also comment on any of one of those videos on my social media, my IG account, preferably. If you're on TikTok, definitely like and share. I see most of those things, and that each time you do that, it increases your chances of winning. So when I do the raffle, I'll enter your name a few times, and I'll pull it up from the actual whatever, and yeah, we'll be able to decide who the winner will be. So again, thank y'all, appreciate y'all, and again, comment if you want to know about any story, and I'll chime in and I'll do my best to share. In the meantime, between time, y'all have a great Thursday. All right, peace.